Hey everybody, welcome to Action News. I'm Katrina Bowman-Thomas, Executive Director for Northern Kentucky Community Action Commission, and we are so glad that you have joined us for our third episode. Today we are going to feature our Head Start program, of which I am a proud graduate, and we're going to talk about all the benefits of being in the Head Start program. We're also going to talk about homelessness and the impact of children, as well as childhood poverty. Covington Partners is going to join us to talk about all that they've done over the past couple of years to deal with childhood poverty. And lastly, we're going to talk about zip codes and the impact that has on our children in poverty in our neighborhoods and communities. So stay tuned. We have an awesome show for you, and we'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Kareem Simpson. I'm the Director of Community Services here at Northern Kentucky Community Action Commission. And here today we have Angela Harden, our family advocate at our Head Start department. How are you doing, Angela?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. And also, not only do you work at a Head Start, but you're also a Head Start parent. What made you decide to enroll your child into Head Start?
So I was a Head Start parent, but I was also a Head Start child many decades ago. We won't talk about that now. But I had very, very good experiences with Head Start. I remember a lot of songs and brushing teeth and things that we did in Head Start. And one of the only male role models that I had in my lifetime was through Head Start. So it was a good program.
Great to hear. And I myself also am a product of Head Start, our own new Campbell County Head Start. I attended when I was many years ago. What are some of the benefits that you see in enrolling your child into Head Start?
So, especially for my own child, he had some delays with language. So it was vital to be able to pinpoint those delays early. And get him back where he needed to be so that when he was ready to go to kindergarten, he was right where he was supposed to be, and we didn't have to deal with that later on.
What would you tell other parents who want to enroll their child into Head Start?
I would definitely say to hop on board and do it, because Head Start is an amazing program. When they say that it breaks the cycle of poverty, it really does. I am the first person in my family that graduated high school and went to college.
Wow. What does it mean to you to be Head Start proud?
For me, Head Start proud is literally being proud to be part of this program. Not only to have attended the program, but to actually be a part of it now and to help families that are just like me, that are coming from the situations that I've lived in.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Angela, for talking to us a little bit about Head Start. If a parent out there wants to enroll in Head Start, how would they do that?
They can go to our website at nkcac.org and apply online.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And we'll be right back.
Early childhood is a time of great growth and development. Northern Kentucky Head Start provides you and your preschool child a stable foundation through services in education, health, and nutrition, including daily meals and social services. And with parent involvement, you'll always be part of your child's progress. Head Start offers preschool opportunities with support for the whole family. To find out if you are eligible or to apply today, visit our website at nkcac.org.
Welcome back to Action News. My name is Wendy Hayden, and I am with Northern Kentucky Community Action Commission. I am the Director of the Senior Employment Program, and we are here today with Executive Director Danny Amrine from the Welcome House. And our topic today is going to be the housing shortage, how it impacts people and specifically children in our area. But thank you first, Danny, for coming with us. So would you like to tell us a little bit about the Welcome House?
Yeah, would love to. Thank you very, very much for having me. Welcome House, we've been in the community for about 40 years, so this next year is going to be our 40-year anniversary. Basically, we provide a continuum of services to end homelessness in our region by giving our clients services and tools to help them become stable. Our whole mission and goal is to end homelessness. We want to take people from homeless to home in our community, whether that be affordable housing, pay-e-ship, housing services and supports, whatever we can do, the wraparound services to get them into housing.
That's awesome, a great service in the community. So can you tell us, why do you think it's so hard to find a home?
We are struggling. So, I mean, I think we were having a hard time before the pandemic, and the pandemic has just exacerbated. Part of it is the wages haven't kept up with the cost of housing. So, it was previous, you had to work almost 66 hours to afford a 2-bedroom. Now it's almost 70 hours at minimum wage to just afford a 2-bedroom apartment.
Oh, wow.
As a single parent, how are you going to be able to work 70 to 80 hours a week on top of taking care of kids just to afford your housing? So, I mean, there are a lot of difficulties and barriers in trying to just even obtain housing. People have prior evictions. The wages, like I said, have not kept up with the cost of housing in our area.
Okay, so that kind of went into my second question about our barriers, so thank you for answering that. So how do you feel the lack of the affordable housing affects homelessness?
So in the state of Kentucky, there's about a 75,000 unit shortage for people who are lower income in the entire state of Kentucky. So that was pre-pandemic numbers.
Oh.
So post, I mean, we're seeing properties, the landlords are negotiating rent with us because they can get somebody to pay more rent than, what some of our participants can pay. Mm-hmm. Some of these people have evictions on their records, multiple evictions. Sometimes they have criminal backgrounds. Or no ID, trying to get the proper identification. So there are a lot of barriers sometimes that people experience in just trying to get into housing before they can even consider they can afford it.
Right. And how do you think being homeless affects a child or a teenager, specifically their education, well-being, and their social skills?
So that's one of the biggest things we try to prioritize with our shelter for women and children. We are desperate to keep the children in their same school system, because I believe the studies show that once you change a school system, you almost get set back 1 to 2 years of that child's development and growth and learning. So when we have somebody that comes to our shelter, we make sure that we cab them, or that there's a bus there, or we can get them back to their school of origin and make sure that they're not bouncing around, because that definitely does have a detrimental effect on their learning.
And if people wanted to, who would they be able to contact in our area if they are looking for affordable housing or know of someone that is experiencing some homelessness?
A lot of our nonprofits work together, what's called a coordinated entry list for people to get on that list for housing, but also Section 8 in the Section 8 offices in all the local municipalities. But if somebody's struggling with homelessness or knows somebody is, welcomehouseky.org, and they can see all of our resources, contact numbers, and support there.
Okay, awesome. And I think we should be able to put that on our website as well. But how would you feel we could address the issue as a community with not enough affordable housing, specifically with landlords?
Right now we're seeing landlords, the small landlords are selling. The market is great right now, so people who have historically rented to us before, now they can get out from underneath that because these properties are selling so high. So there really has to be some intentionality around the development of new affordable housing. And sometimes that's a scary word for cities and communities. We faced a lot of NIMBYism, a lot of not in my backyard for these bigger affordable housing developments. But how do we look at it, take a strategic approach? What are other successful communities doing across the country and throughout the globe that are doing this and doing it right? But as it sits now, we know that there's definitely a lack of affordable housing, and getting communities and working with everybody on board to see what's the most creative way that we can approach this problem together.
Okay, awesome information. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Finding a job can be stressful. Do you feel disconnected from the workforce? Intimidated by the thought of interviewing? The Senior Employment Program matches eligible seniors with part-time training opportunities with local organizations. Participants build skills, a resume, and gain confidence to navigate the modern workforce while giving back to their community. The Senior Employment Program, offering our seniors a stepping stone into the workforce.
Welcome back. My name is Kareem Simpson, Director for Community Services here at NKCAC, and with me today I have Tracy Stokes, as the Executive Director of Community Partners. Welcome, Tracy.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us a little bit about Community Partners.
So Covington Partners is the nonprofit arm for Covington schools. That's the best way to describe us. We started under the umbrella of the school district, and once we were providing services to our students and seeing what worked, we wanted to sustain those programs for our students. And so we branched off and became a separate 501c3. And now we provide programming K through 12. Things such as mentoring, which we have over 260 mentoring matches with our students. We also do a lot of out-of-school time programming. So this past summer, we served about 1,000 students in our summer program. That will build some momentum as we go into the school year, and we'll have morning and after-school program. And it also includes some family engagement, a health and wellness initiative. The core of everything that we do is around drug and violence prevention. So really trying to teach our students to make some healthy choices, but providing that support for them so that they know what those healthy choices are throughout their time in school with us.
Those are some really great auxiliary kind of services for our children here in Covington. And what is the percentage, do you know, about how many are low income in the city of Covington?
So for the students in Covington, we have about 90% of our students who qualify for free and reduced lunch, which that is one of the highest in all of the Commonwealth. Sometimes we go back and forth with Newport, sometimes they're a little bit higher, but we hover around that 90% rate. We know that about 15 to 16% of our students will identify as homeless by the end of the school year. That's one of the highest in the state as well, and it far outpaces what's happening across the region. About 10 to 12% of our students live in public housing. Something that also we have to consider is around 20% of our students qualify for special education services, and that could be anywhere from speech to a full individual education plan that we need to implement. And we really look at our students. We have a very diverse group of students, one of the most diverse districts in this region. And we see that as an asset. Our students come to us with different challenges and different things that they want to accomplish, but what we do say about 100% of our students is that they are at promise. They just need some additional support that NKCAC provides or Covington Partners provides, and we just help coordinate those services so that students can be successful in school and in life.
Those are a lot of challenges going on for the kids here in Covington, and I know that even if you weren't a student, you had to go through COVID-19 last year. What are some things that you did during that time to help address some of these needs that our kids have?
So, I can still remember Friday, we call it Friday the 13th, because it was March 13th, 2020, when our superintendent, Alvin Garrison, had to make the decision to close down the district. And at that time, we thought it was going to be just for 2 weeks. Little did we know that, 18 months later, we were still going to be dealing with this. But he was very concerned about what would happen to our students during those 2 weeks who are our most vulnerable students. And so he asked that Covington Partners start coordinating what we at that time called safety checks. And so we asked each school within the district to send us a list of students that they were going to be concerned about over the next 2 weeks. And we did porch drops where we took food. You guys helped provide some of that food. We also took games for them to do, or books. We partnered with the Kenton County Library. They brought some books for us. But when we pulled all those names together and we compiled that list, we had 667 students who we were going to be concerned about over those next 2 weeks and then longer. Just making sure that they had their basic needs met, or that they were safe and taken care of, making sure that they had what they needed to complete NTI, which was another initiative that we worked on with the school district as well as the city of Covington, which was Covington Connects. So we coordinated the Wi-Fi distribution for over 1,000 of our students. And I think if anything, that what COVID has allowed us to do over the past 18 months is to see the inequities that exist just right here, across the world, but right here in our own, Northern Kentucky region, there are enormous inequities that people don't realize. Wi-Fi should be a basic need at this point, and our students didn't have a device to do their homework on. They didn't have the internet access to do it, and so Covington schools purchased those devices, and then Covington Partners worked to coordinate the distribution of those Wi-Fi services. And one thing that we also did that, sometimes people don't think is a direct solution to the COVID-19, the global pandemic that we just had, but what we're going to see is that our students have experienced a COVID slide. So they've not, some of our, we just talked about this the other day, some of our second graders who will enter school on Thursday have not yet spent a full year in one of our classrooms, which is crazy to think that a second grader hasn't been in a full year of consistent learning. And so our students are going to experience that COVID slide. When you pair that up with a summer learning loss, which a lot of students in high poverty communities experience, there's a lot of learning loss that we have to make up. And so we took a 5-week summer program and expanded it to a 6-week program and just really hit hard reading and math, but also the social and emotional support that our students need post the pandemic.
That is a lot of need for our kids here in Covington, and it looks like you are fighting the good fight, and we thank you. Thank you for that. How would someone get involved with Covington Partners if they want to become a mentor, or if they want to kind of just help out with your mission?
So the best way to find your fit is to visit our website, which is mycovingtonpartners.org. We are looking for mentors. Right now, our mentoring program continues to be remote-based, but the need is still there for our students. So if folks are interested in getting involved, mentoring is the most cost-effective way to make a difference in the life of a child, and we need those mentors for 3rd grade through 12th grade students. And we make it work remote-based, and we're making a decision month by month if that's going to continue to be remote-based. Eventually, we want to get it back into person so the mentors are seeing the students in the school or in the community.
Great to know. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back.
Traditional high school wasn't for me.
I needed an education. I was eager to find a decent job. Youthbuild gave me the chance I wanted.
I gained confidence.
I advocated for myself. I became a leader.
I got 9 months of paid construction training.
Volunteered and made new connections. I found secondary education choices and training. I feel totally different and got an experience that has shaped my entire life.
Welcome back to Action News, and I am so glad to have with me in this episode Tracy Stokes. She is our fatherhood director, and we have heard so much over the last several years really about childhood poverty, and specifically when we look at your zip code, how that really impacts children in their lives, not just in the immediate, but we've heard the long-term effects. So again, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here with us. And let's just have a little conversation. What have you heard? What is the research saying when it comes to childhood poverty and in your zip code?
So the research is saying, you know, if we have zip codes who have resources such as counselors, technology, you know, resources to feed the children, as opposed to those zip codes who may not have children who have access to these things readily available, that there is an effect on their emotional, socioeconomic, academic growth in the future. And so when we think about zip codes and kind of what is going on, you know, in our nation and in our region, we think about how can these school districts and how can these zip codes find resources to ensure that these children have what they need in order to be successful, in order to reach their goals, in order to really be productive members of society.
And, you know, as I think about that, I really think back to, you know, how were communities created with these disparities? You know, when you look back at the 50s and 60s and you hear about redlining and how certain people couldn't live in certain neighborhoods, this is a systematic issue.
It is.
And it's one that it was baked, when we say systematic, it was baked into the system. People of color couldn't live in certain places.
Correct.
They couldn't get housing.
Correct.
So what do you think that we need to do, and right here in our community, how can we begin to sort of unravel some of those issues so we can have a more equitable playing field for everyone?
So I think it starts, like you said, with the system. It starts with leadership of these school districts, of these organizations, of our political leaders in the community. It's really taking a look at their mindset and it's taking a look at, their belief system. And it's also training them to see, you may not have to deal with this in your household with your children where you live, but the students and the children and the families that you serve have these issues. And so it's important for them to understand, it may not look how you think it should look, but the reality is some of the kids that come into your buildings, come into your community centers, they don't have food to eat. They don't have internet. They don't have access to technology. And in the long run, that is really going to impede their ability to be successful. So
yeah, it's so true. And, like you said, we have to change their mindset. But I think the key to changing their mindset is really to put some pressure on. Is really to really make people hear you. And so as you think about those communities that are disadvantaged, that don't have the resources, what would you say to people that want to organize or that want to say, I want some change in my community? How do you really advise them to begin to move forward to create change in their own neighborhood?
So I think about, the seat that you have at the tables that you're at. If you are an executive director, if you are a director of a program, if you have the expertise in a certain area, use your voice in order to make change. If you keep quiet with the knowledge that you have and the passion that you have, then there's no way that we can affect change. So I think the first step is people really just stepping up and speaking out. If you want to organize, a program, do it. If you want to mentor, don't start your own organization. Look in the community to see what's already here and then use your voice in order to assist them with, doing the things they want to do in their program. So I think using your voice and telling your story. I always love a good story, right? And if you tell your story, I think you'll inspire others, right? You'll inspire them to hope. You will inspire them to do more. And I think that's the first step. Like you said, pressure as well. That's going to be the first step in making sure we make change.
Exactly. And I love that share your story and be strategic in sharing your story. There's so many opportunities. You can go to city council. There's times for open discussion, and you can get up and sign up and say, hey, this is what I want to talk about. So people know that you are really allowing your voice to count. Get on the school board. Go to the site-based council. There's opportunities for people to make change right in their neighborhoods, right in their communities. And it's not too late. Even though things happened 50 or 60 years ago, we can still all work together collectively to make changes. So when you think about that, what would be sort of your first step as you begin to think about the changes that we need to happen to undo some of these things that we see in our communities today?
So like I've said, find an organization that you can participate in. I love that you said site-based. If you are a parent in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, you know that you can apply to be on the site-based committee. That's exactly what I did when my kids were in school. And I can tell you that as a parent, making my voice heard, teachers didn't always agree with me, principal didn't always agree with me, but I always made sure that I spoke up, not for just myself, but for other parents, right? Other parents who may not have the fortitude to really get on these committees. You have to use your voice. And so for me, it's finding an area where I'm able to, fit in, and make a difference. So that's what I would say.
And that's it. We all have the opportunity to make a difference. No matter what systematic pressures are in place, we can take those things into our hands and create communities that we want to see more livable and more productive for our children.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Tracy. We're so glad that you're here with us today, and we'll be right back.
Ohana? Ohana means family?
I could get a phone notification. He's like, is that some boy?
And they're like, why are you looking at my phone? I'm like, it's right there in my face.
No, we'll be like this, and you'll be like.
That's typical stuff parents do.
Fatherhood has been something that we've always been interested here in NKCAC. Traditionally, fathers have been absent from a lot of social service programming when it is addressed towards the family. So now we have stable programming for fathers so that we can incorporate them into the well-being of the entire family.
The new dads, they come in and they've got this look on their face like, I don't know what I'm doing.
I had a lot of kids back to back to back. I wasn't ready for that at all.
I was the new dad once, and I'm sure I had that look on my face.
And I'm not gonna say at the beginning I was probably the best parent, but it's something I had to realize and say, you know what, I gotta step up and do it.
Being able to share in that brotherhood almost, letting them know that they're in the right spot, that they're doing the right thing, that, you know, they're not alone. What is it? Okay, in a few minutes. All right. Thank you for telling me though.
I try to prepare them for everything they do in the future, not just what they're doing now.
I'll text him like BRB, like be right back, and he'll be like, what does that mean? I don't know what that means.
A lot of times I'm just being a dad saying spell it out. If you was writing paper, you wouldn't do that.
This program shows the importance of fatherhood and that it elevates father to a new level because when the father succeeds, their children succeed.
I encourage everybody to push and be there for your kids.
You're being there, you're trying, you're good. Keep it up.
Wow, what an awesome show. Such great information. It was so good to hear from one of our own Head Start teachers about her experience and also to hear from Covington Partners, what they're doing, and Welcome House, how they are addressing homelessness in our community. So we hope that you've enjoyed our show, and we want to let you know, join us for our second annual Black History Walk. This year we will be in Newport on October the 9th. You can sign up on our website, www.nkcac.org. We hope to see you there. And tune in for our next show. You never know what we're going to get into. Action News.